Hey guys, we're going to talk about paying taxes as a Christian. And, I'm sure you guys have all heard the render to Caesar what is Caesar's thing. We're not going to go there. We're just going to say, you should pay your taxes. Yes. And um, basically, what I wanted to drive home or talk about was I don't have to drive it home because you all know that the government does all kinds of things with our money that we're not exactly happy with, especially as Christians. And funds all kinds of things that are just not right. And yeah, we're paying for that. So this has bothered me. So I decided to do something about it. And I wanted to just talk about what I'm doing and give you guys some ideas of what can be done and what I've seen happen. What I've seen happen has not been what I expected to happen. So I've been praying over my tax checks because, I have to actually write a check quarterly because I'm in business. So it's not like withholding or something when you're an employee. You physically are aware of what's going out and having to be active and participating with the whole process of, doing your taxes, paying your taxes and all of that. So those quarterly checks, I started praying over them. I started stipulating what the money could and could not be spent on. And since then, I don't know, I guess I expected something different to happen in the government, which has not been the case. I don't know what I was thinking, but what has happened is I've gotten 3 unsolicited tax returns, and I've gotten ways without looking for it to not pay any taxes next year. So evidently, with all my stipulations, the government has 0 use for my checks, which is troubling. That's the conclusion that I came to. So yeah, more people join me, please. I know it's hard to think of what exactly you want to formulate into a prayer, so we've got a little bullet point thing that we can share with you later. But basically, some of the things that I've thought about in terms of this is we want to almost approach it like we would any other kind of giving, recognizing that our money is going to go and do some good things. Our taxes take care of the poor, even though the private sector would probably do a better job of that. Public education, even the mess that it is right now, at least kids do get to go to school. It's accessible for everybody. And, we probably came up in an okay system. So there is that. We have that to look back on and be grateful for. And, my dog and I walk in a public park every day. We have roads and we have bridges. True, we have had a society in the past that didn't use taxes and functioned on all of those things, but this is the system that we have now, so it's what we're working with. And even if we change things, we wouldn't be able to overhaul it instantly. So that's where we're at.
Yeah. And the first part of the prayer is repentance for trying to get out of legally obligated taxes. For cheating, especially if you've done something is incorrect, that was wrong. That comes down to your ethics. It has nothing to do with the government or what you think about what's happening in the government. If you are lying on your taxes, that's a problem as a Christian. I guess would be for anybody, but especially for us, we're called to truth and to honesty. So doing something dishonest is not kosher. But also one of the things that Seneca and I were kind of trying to, you always hear loopholes in the context of taxes and trying to find different loopholes. And there's kind of 2 different ways that you can look at those. Absolutely do not pay more taxes than you need to. But don't be trying to twist things or to be deceptive in order to take advantage of a loophole. If you can take a deduction, that maybe you've never heard about before, and your accountant's like, hey, we could do this. Well, if that's illegal and that's ethical, then absolutely take it. Don't give the government any more of your money than you need to. So there's kind of two different ways of looking at that word. So choose
Well,
wisely.
and by the same point, the government has offered some things lately. There was the PPP plan where
Mhm.
you could get up to $20,000, and lately there's been the forgiveness for student debt. Like, if
Mhm.
you're eligible, by all means, take advantage of those things.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's true that it does cost somebody else money, but you've paid in too, and you will continue to pay in. So that's where I'm at with that.
Well, and there are a lot of, the student loan repayment thing is a hot button issue currently. But there have always been different ways that you could have portions or all of your student loans forgiven for, working in a low income area, or, it all depends on, what you do and how, there's too many different ways of figuring that, but there have always been those programs set up. I don't know how frequently that they're taken advantage of. I applied for several times and never was never able to avail myself of that. I never was awarded that, but I tried. Like, well, why not? So, um, but so just know that there are, if all you've ever heard about is kind of what's happening in the end of 2022 world as far as student loan forgiveness, just know that that's not the only thing. Like, the blanket forgiveness is not the only way that has happened or can happen. So, and again, like, definitely take, and for your business as well as, that's more on the personal side of things probably, but in all aspects of your life, then definitely, if you qualify for funding, and it's a good decision to make, then do that. Free money is, not free, but you know, it can be helpful in a sticky place. So,
Yeah, and it is gonna be what you do with it too. I
mhm,
mean, I don't agree with this, what they're doing. I don't
mhm,
agree that I should pay for somebody that went to college when I decided not to because I couldn't afford it. But as an individual person, yeah, you go for it.
mhm,
Absolutely. If that's what they're gonna do, then
yeah. So, currently, so far as I've heard, there's still courts battling back and forth as to the legalities of it all and that type of thing. So,
right.
depending on when you hear this may be a moot point or not.
Right. But there's always something like that. Like, somebody didn't do the PPP loan when they were eligible because they didn't think it was right that somebody else should pay. And I'm like, you've paid. You have paid your
And
dues.
yeah, there are roads that I have paid for that I will never drive on. There's all kinds of things, infrastructure, all kinds of stuff that my tax dollars over the years have gone for that have never benefited me one iota. Part of that is just part of living in a society. And,
Mhm.
and part of what's kind of gotten sloppy about that is people haven't paid attention to what's happened with their money. And we've assumed that it's the government's money, but it isn't. It's our money that we have entrusted to the government to use wisely, which, generally speaking, kind of questionable. But and again, partly it's just like Seneca said earlier, as far as taking care of the poor. Yeah, there's WIC yeah. Um,
Mhm.
there's all kinds of, like, welfare. There's all kinds of federal, state, local programs that assist people in need. Um, but they are not as efficient when you have somebody at a great distance administrating and making decisions for people locally. You've got layers of bureaucracy and people getting paid for doing their job, which they should. But that means, you just have the
Yeah.
economics just are not as efficient as if you have a local food bank and you give them, $20 or $50 or however, whatever you want to do, then more of that money is going to go towards somebody in need. So, but that's kind of neither here nor there. This is where we found ourselves. And I think one of the encouraging things about just the politics here in America is that people are kind of waking up and they're saying, oh, wait a minute. And they're beginning to take action and they're beginning to do things to change how some of that stuff is happening. And that's a good thing, that this is, they work for us, not the other way around.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so kind of the basic process is repentance, and then having gratitude for those things, and also then making declarations as for what your money can and cannot be used for.
And I've broken it into basically two main categories. I said nothing that enslaves people and nothing that creates victims. And I feel like that encompasses quite a bit. And if you guys have other ideas, feel free, but I don't want to get super into the weeds because I know everybody has their pet peeves. We don't want to fund abortion and we don't have, all these things. And there's probably things that the government is doing that we don't even know about. We would be horrified.
But I think Seneca makes a very important point. We're all called to fight different battles. So my battle is probably not going to be hers, and it's probably not going to be exactly the same one that you're fighting in this whole arena. And that's not a bad thing, because then if we're all fighting the battle that God has called us to fight, then we're going to have no gaps in that wall, and we're going to be able to take ground back from the enemy. So I think that the difficulty is you have to hear from God for yourself, because we can't tell you what you're supposed to be praying in this situation. We can get like you said, we can give you a basic outline of what that looks like. But you have to have the intention, because I think just saying the words isn't going to be beneficial.
And I went broad with this for other people's sake. But, specificity has value too. So yeah, absolutely name those things off that you have an issue with and is boiling you over. Yeah. So to speak.
Well, and I think part of, or I wonder if part of what that does is it, a couple of different things. You're still retaining ownership of your money, because this is your money that you are giving the government to manage for you. So in the spirit realm, even though not in the physical realm, you are setting forth your expectations for the use of that money. But also, I wonder if there isn't, just like, you hear the preachers always sowing a seed into different ministries and that kind of thing. Well, you're sowing a seed into the government. You're sowing a seed into the way our country is run. So in my mind, doesn't that give you even more authority? Not that, again, you want to give more than you need to. There are other ways to do that.
And that's the way I've looked at it, because I'll pay my city bill late and they have atrocious late fees. And instead of being mad about it, I'm looking at it as I'm giving them more money to run better. And I know, because it's a small town, I know what's going on. I know everybody. I know the city clerk. I know the main guy that does the maintenance. And, I know that that's paying their salary, and I feel good about that. If I have a late fee, then I have a late fee.
Yeah. So, but I think so often we're very passive about these kinds of things. So, and to me, in my mind, because when you first expressed this to me, I was like, well, I just pay it. I don't, you just do it.
You have to, you don't want to go to jail, so you pay the tax.
so they don't come and yell at you. That's, I'm like, oh, I really like that, just the intentionality behind doing that. So, as well as I would like to receive checks in the mail, that would be fabulous. But even regardless of that, I just think that that's something that I'm definitely adding to my my repertoire of things that I do moving forward.
Well, and it's not a done deal. I mean, it's the end of the year, so we'll see what happens with my accountant, what he comes up with. But yeah, I think it's going to go pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
Those
my
are, those
goal.
are the kind of surprises you want at the accountant's office, not the other way around. I'm
Um,
getting how much money back? That's fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, and I probably won't get it back. We'll just apply it so I don't have to keep paying every quarter, So it's not fun like that, but
Yeah.
you know,
It's still better than a tax bill. I'm just saying.
yes, it is. I'll let my account bill back up, but
Yeah.
because I got stuff to do. I got things to buy and business to build.
Yeah. Yep. So,
And I feel like that kind of ties back into like our first lesson in the supernatural business challenge, of
mhm,
seeking first the kingdom, figuring out how your business does that.
mhm. Yeah.
That's so foundational.
Yeah. And this is one way that you do have a voice. And I think that, the prayer of a person, any prayer of a person um, who believes in God is a powerful thing. But there is no doubt that corporate prayer, when people unite together for a common purpose, again, even if you've got kind of different slices of that pie, but you're still advancing the kingdom of heaven through your finance, through your money, uh,
Mhm.
then that's got to make a bigger difference. It just has to.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's so many of us. If we would just be a little more intentional about our taxes,
mhm,
that'd be a great thing.
yeah, yep, absolutely. So I've got my marching orders. Hopefully, y'all.
Pretty easy. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get a link to the PDF of our little bit of notes. It's not anything huge. We'll leave you a lot of room because you guys know how to pray.
yep. So and definitely add whatever.
Yep.
So if you come up with another strategy, we'd love to hear it. So
Yes.
yeah,
We need ideas for this.
yeah. All righty, y'all have a great day.